Police say they're becoming the first line of response for mental health incidents, attending thousands each year. With a reduction in support services and strain on the NHS, officers say they're having to fill the gap, taking them away from other frontline duties. Figures reveal that in the North East alone, officers have attended more than 1,600 mental health call-outs this year. Gráinne Ní Ghréacháin joined officers on patrol at the weekend.
It's just over a week until Christmas, and this is one of the busiest times for Police Scotland officers. But beyond the visible challenges around the festivities, there is a hidden and growing issue that officers are often the first to respond to. For those on the front line, they say mental health related incidents in particular have seen a huge spike. These two officers are going to yet another call out in Aberdeen.
Caller has gone to check if someone is still there. Caller is back on the line and cannot see who it is.
Response time is crucial for those struggling with their mental health, making contact as soon as possible. This is just another example of what officers are dealing with on a daily basis, with over 1,600 mental health incidents attended this year in the North East alone. Well, we're just a few hours into the shift, but already we're on the second mental health related incident of the evening. We've been speaking to officers who said this time of year especially, they see a spike in mental health related calls, with more to be expected as the evening goes on. During this shift, after a person attempted to take their own life, officers have taken them to A&E, but this isn't an uncommon occurrence for them.
The male's sister seemed very sound of mind, obviously very concerned for her brother, but we feel quite comfortable that we'll be able to take them up to ARI and she'll be able to sit with him to make sure he's assessed. The risk is, if there's not a family member and we don't stay, they could walk off. Obviously they could have the same thoughts that obviously got us there in the first place, and they could come to further harm, so we would be the ones sitting with him potentially for hours.
With a reduction in support services and ongoing strain on the NHS, officers are filling the gap, taking them away from other frontline duties.
Well, it means that response times are going to be slower. It means that we have to prioritise more because we can't go to everything. It means that we're dealing with less crime and more about mental health, which is fine. Obviously, we have a duty of care, but the amount of time that we do take at, for example, the hospital is incredible. We could be there for the rest of our shift.
Back at the station, the sergeant highlights the pressure the increase of calls is having on the service.
I've heard from a variety of people, yeah, it would be great to see more police on the street and more police doing this and doing that, but unfortunately because of the amount of mental health calls that we have to deal with and the time it takes to deal with them, we're unfortunately taken away from our core function of dealing with crime because we have to deal with that. I would love it if we could get more of the cops out, but unfortunately because there's such a volume, it's really difficult to do so.
A new pilot scheme in Aberdeen hopes to alleviate the growing strain on the service and its staff, but it won't be a long-term solution.
We have a facility for our officers 24/7 to contact a consultant from the Royal Cornhill Hospital, which will provide an assessment of the individual, and it will either identify any signposted organisation that we can send that person to be assisted by, or we can take them to the Cornhill Hospital where they can be dealt with as a place of safety. There are restrictions in terms of this. It's not an infinite resource because, again, the reason we are where we are is because of the lack of provision and capability within medical circles. And also if the individual is under the influence of alcohol or drugs.
The Scottish Government say they recognise the impact on policing and have developed a guide to support officers. But as incidents like these continue to rise, the demands placed on those at the forefront of the mental health crisis will become greater. Gráinne Ní Ghréacháin, STV News.
Well, if you've been impacted by any of the issues raised in Gráinne's report, there's information for charities that provide advice and support on the screen.